I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 6:30 p.m. Chairman Pierce is not present. I am Commissioner Holly, and I'm acting chairman tonight, and all the other commissioners are present, and we have a quorum, and it is Thursday, May 19th, 2016. So, agenda changes. But I started this whole thing at 6:30, so that's why I said at 6:30. Okay. Mr. Hoffmeyer, do you have any agenda changes?
It's a potential change. The discussion that we had at the last regular meeting as well in regards to salaried employees, and I might like to pick up on that a little bit in light of the change with what an executive
Okay, what's the
employee is.
topic, and is it on
Salaried employees.
salaried employees, and you want to talk about under unfinished business or new business?
Let's go unfinished, yeah, because we talked about it last meeting as well.
All right, salaried employees. Okay, that's the only one you have?
Yes, it is.
All right. Doc? Not for you. And Ms. Shingleton? Nothing for you. And I have no changes either. Do we have any public comments?
No one signed up.
Okay, no public.
I signed up. Oh, did you? Yeah. What time is it?
6:30? 6:32, actually, you're a little late, but it's time, are you,
Am I? What time? I'm a little late.
you're a little late because you're 2 minutes, we've already started the meeting, but that's fine. If you want to,
Meeting, I didn't know we could be late. I don't know that we had it.
well, since public comments is the first thing that happens.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So, are you ready to make your public comment?
Well, I would like to, for the record, ask the commissioner, is there any inquiry into NWAC activities or attendance by the commission, by commissioners in particular? Has anybody requested any records of attendance?
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Could I ask for what purpose?
We're reviewing NWAC, the program, and
Is-
I.
Okay, I'll let you speak.
Oh, okay. And we're actually going to talk about NWAC under program review a little, yes. But we're not going to, because the public hasn't been given notice. Next week, there probably will be a big discussion about NWAC again.
So when was this notice supposed to go out?
What notice?
That there would be a discussion about NWAC or public comment?
It's going to happen tonight.
Oh, we're gonna send that message out to
Yes.
concerned parents. So my question would be, when I looked for the minutes and it said go to YouTube. Now, what if we don't have access to YouTube?
Okay, the public comment section is actually not a give and take kind of thing.
No, but
It's for,
I would like to see, I was looking for the minutes to read what, because I would like to read it from here since we have a folder.
okay.
But going to YouTube, I don't have access to YouTube here. And my question would be, why couldn't I read the full text of the minutes and what was said during the council meeting or the commissioners meeting? That's my question, because
Okay.
I would like to know what was discussed. If
Yeah,
this
minutes-
was an agenda item tonight.
The minutes get done when they get done. And
Oh.
so, for instance, the minutes from last month have not been done yet. So tonight we're going to
Can you explain what you mean by, just can
Okay,
you go back? What do you mean by when they get done?
the transcription of the minutes. So the minutes are available on YouTube, and that's the way that we have chosen for them to be available to the public.
So my question would be, do I have a right to request a written transcript of that?
You can, but I'm just telling you it'll be.
No, a
Oh.
written transcript is different from the minutes, so.
Oh, no,
Sorry,
the
I
answer is,
need to-
yes, I'm sorry, you're correct. No, the answer is no, you do not.
I don't?
No. Because we don't, I'm sorry, the time that it would take to prepare that is not worth the money. It's like, if you need somebody to sit down with you with a computer and bring up YouTube for you, maybe that can be handled. But I would ask that because this is public comments, it's free to make comments, please go to the executive director and talk to him about it. We want, or just come to the meetings. That would be good too. But if you can't come to meetings, fine. But talk to the executive director, please, and we will try and facilitate you. We're not trying to hide anything.
I am not employed by the executive director.
I know
You
that.
are the commissioners, yes? And so I don't want to speak to an intermediary. You folks are the commissioners, yes? This is a public meeting. This is a public comment section. So I would like to address the commissioners because I'm not his employee. He does not have to answer to me. I don't have to answer to him. You, however, are the commissioners, yes? I'm a taxpayer. I'm a part of this district. And I think I'm entitled to the right to approach you folks during public comment and ask for these things and question, yes?
Yes, and you have,
So
and I
what you're telling me
explained.
to go to him, but I don't want to talk to him.
Okay,
He does not have anything to do
okay.
with what I'm asking.
I'm telling you, we are not going to start a process of transcribing minutes.
Okay, so
for-
then I would advise you that then I would probably go and find out legal counsel as to why you're saying that you can't.
Okay,
Okay,
that's, please
so
do
I would
that.
like you to,
If I
for the
may.
record,
It's-
could you please check with your legal counsel as to why you would
We're not
have that
required.
right?
We're not
You're
required to.
required. Okay, I would like to check on that.
Yeah, please
Could you
do.
Please do that.
Well, we don't need to check on that, so I
Yeah.
think
You
that
don't?
we don't need to check on that.
You
So
don't have to.
if
You don't have to provide me with the
Sir,
with
if
the
you could
written
please,
transcript.
sir, if you could please just, first of all, I mean, we're trying to give you some levity here.
But I do not want to go to YouTube because number one, YouTube.
Sir, if
I can't
Okay.
read YouTube.
All right, public comment is not a give and take, so.
It's not? Okay.
Yes, so your time is done. We've already gone past your 3 minutes.
Okay.
So if you have an issue for the board, please email us and tell, this is what I want.
Who do I email?
All five of the commissioners, just,
Are your email available somewhere where I can reach it?
yes, it's on our website. Do you have a computer? Do you have availability of a
Oh,
computer?
yes, I do.
Okay, then if you pull up our website, it has all of our computer addresses. Okay?
I'd be available for a meeting as well. I'd be available to meet with you if you wanted.
Sure. Great.
Okay. So we're done with public comments. Board issues. Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
Just the agenda change is all I have.
Doc?
I wanted to thank the commissioner for sending me his contracts, and now I've read that, so I understand that. I was a little perplexed, though, that we don't seem to have a job description other than what's in the contract and what's in the bylaws. Do we have job descriptions for other employees? We do,
In the handbook.
but we don't have a job description in the handbook for the director. Oh, we do?
It's the same as it's in the bylaws.
It is? Oh, okay, all right, thanks.
Commissioner Shingleton.
I just wanted to circle back real quick and address the point so that everybody understands that there are legal requirements. I think there's a misunderstanding, but there are legal requirements in terms of when we publish the minutes as to what's required. And we do publish all of those things. What isn't required is for us to transcribe things word for word or anything thereof. If that's something that you want to do, you can always, I suppose, hire someone. But anyway, if you want to research that more fully, then you can look at the Open Public Meetings Act for the state of Washington, and that'll explain that to you better. So just full disclosure, that was it.
Okay, and I have nothing. Next, we'll go to the approval of minutes. We don't have them for April 28th or May 12th, but we did get the March 24th regular meeting minutes. So do I have a motion on those minutes?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes from the March 24, 2016 regular meeting as reported.
I have a motion to approve the March 24th, 2016 minutes as written, as reported. Do I have a second?
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Okay, it is March instead of February,
Okay, correction.
and extra spaces here. That's the only thing. I wasn't going to mention that, but because you had the date wrong, it's like, okay.
Well,
Oh yeah, I just seen it down below that. That's funny.
all right? So I'll wait for anything else if anyone else has
Okay.
any.
Did anyone else have anything for discussion? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the,
Madam Chair, I would like to amend the motion to include the noted correction.
Okay.
Second as amended.
okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes with the change. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed? Motion passes. Okay, voucher review. Do I have a motion on the voucher review?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve vouchers 7081 through 7117 in the amount of $23,630.43 and conduct payroll transfer from M&O account to payroll account in the amount of $44,703.70.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I mean, this is just sort of a technical thing. This money's already been spent.
Right.
I mean, I can see where we should review this, but I'm not sure, is anybody, we can't disapprove it. I mean, it's already been spent. Why are we even voting on it?
Because we have to for the
Is
county.
that-
Sorry.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the commission has to approve the expenditures.
We have to approve these vouchers specifically and the movement of money into the M&O account. And it's become, the way that we do it is we also, at that point, then we look at expenditures
Right,
so that
well,
if we
I can-
have an issue.
Right, I can see,
Okay.
understand
But-
reviewing it.
But yeah, this we
I
actually.
just can't understand what's gained from approving something that's already been spent. And we can't, I don't think, has anybody ever,
They need our
Disapproved it?
they need our signatures at the
Yeah,
county
Yeah.
because
Okay.
we're the
That's what
commissioners.
we're
okay. Well, I would think we could just say reviewed rather than approved,
Okay.
but that's all right.
Commissioner Hoffmeyer, do you have anything? Did you have anything else?
No.
Commissioner Shingleton?
I do have a couple of questions. Let's see. One of them was for, okay, so on the vouchers, I was just curious, the swimsuits, is that a staff thing? What were those for? Sorry, voucher number 7107.
There's $301.
Thank you, sorry.
It's okay. I agree, I missed that one. It's on this page.
Yeah, it's one of the current vouchers.
Yeah,
Might
7107,
help to be on the right page.
Yeah, it's on number
I
7107.
got you.
page 1.
Right. Swimsuits, those are sizing kits for the swim team, and they're paid for by the individual swimmers when they pick their suits. So,
So instead of swimsuits, it's because I remember last month we had a big discussion about the sizing kits, sending them back, blah, blah, blah.
right.
So was this swimsuits, and so eventually we're going to get repaid for these?
They've already been, they have been, before the money went in, yes.
Okay, all
So
right.
they're already covered.
That's the best answer ever. The question on, so seeing and understanding that, so the ones here that, with a voucher, the name is North Whidbey Park and Recreation, that's effectively a reimbursement from what they refer to as petty cash, which isn't actually petty,
Right.
but that's what it's called.
Right.
What is our, this is really a process question, what is our internal check and balance for those?
For which?
Well, so we're asking the county to reimburse us for money that's been spent out of a different account. And so in terms of when that money gets spent, I would just like to understand, and maybe today is not the day to understand it, but it seems like we should have some internal check and balance that verifies that, yep, this is a valid expense or whatever before we're, I mean,
Well, I approve all expenses before they occur, other than bills get paid, but all other expenses are approved by me. And then when I make sure that, okay, are we spending something here, like the swimsuits, it's, all right, we ordered the kits, and then whenever the swimmers buy them, then they pay for that, and then and what isn't done is covered in the cost, and that money gets put toward the postage to return the swimsuits that we don't use.
And the reason I ask this, and I probably am a slight bit more paranoid than the average person. You know me, you know that. But I just wonder from an audit perspective if we need to have it, and if it's the fact that you're literally signing off on something and we have a paper trail of that, I'm sure that's sufficient. It's just that movement of money has less visibility than the others.
Okay.
So that's why I asked it.
Is there something you want me to check into for you though?
You know, to me it was more of looking at it from an audit perspective, and I don't know if we have always made this much use. And I'm not saying it's excessive, but perhaps this has been the standard process for years and years. I don't actually know. It just, when I see, like, if I were an auditor, I would look at things that say, hey, you're reimbursing yourself. Why exactly is that? And I understand it. I don't know if we have a policy that relates to that. It's just a thought about what are the things that you would do that for and what are the things you wouldn't. And I'm sure there probably really is a policy, even if it's not written down. But we might want to clarify it.
Okay.
It's a thought. Let's see. I had questions on the visas. A couple questions. It looks so we renewed the domain, domain name. Is that for multiple years? Please say yes.
I think she did it for 2 years.
Okay.
I think she did it for 2 years.
That just is big difference.
But you know, I will verify that for you.
Okay. And then I was curious about, and I think this has a carryover to previous months, but I was the fraud transaction on
Yep.
So we're getting charged for that?
So yeah, because what happened was they reimbursed us again, and this is them taking the second reimbursement. That's what
okay.
happened.
Oh, and when are we going to get the P&L? I know that the meeting's early this month, but
Well,
It's at the back of the.
it's in the back of the packet.
oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I obviously couldn't look at it before the meeting, but okay, that's.
I had a quick question. I guess, I know you're gonna bring it up and you mentioned it in your report, but is there any way to correct that darn finance charge? Is there any way to pay? I mean, it's only $150 a year we end up probably paying, but it's kind of ridiculous that we keep having to pay a late fee because of some sort of system with the county not paying the money on time. I just don't understand that. It seems like there should be some way of saving that $150.
it's really not the process that the county uses that we do, I don't know that can be changed. It really depends on the company. And there are a lot of times whenever the finance charge, as I said in the thing, is credited back to us if they get it on time. So
When is on time? When is
on the date when they do the next billing cycle.
They don't give us 30 days, they give us 30 days?
And that is 30 days from when we get it
And
to.
it takes longer than 30 days for the county to pay them.
I forget how I said it in there, but it
Yeah.
could be, from us, it could be 7 days when we get it gets to county, and for them, it's another 7 to 10 days before they process it, and then, how it goes out. It's,
Part of it is we only go to county once a week.
Right.
And so if we get the bill the day after we've gone to county, that's 6 or 7 days.
or the day of, because the day of.
Yeah, the day of, so that's
the day
7
before.
days,
Right.
start at 7 days already in the red. I was reading that and I was trying to think of a better way to do it, but I don't know that there is.
Yeah, I would be glad to talk to Joanne to see if there's a better
Yeah, so
process.
should we just send it in a week earlier then?
Well, we have to sometimes we don't have them. But let me talk to her and see if there's a
Okay.
better process for it.
It does seem ridiculous to have to pay, if we pay it as soon as we get it, that we're paying fees.
Yeah, a
which
late
is-
fee.
Yeah. Okay, did you have anything else?
Nothing.
Okay.
I
and-
have
yeah,
one more question.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And it's about, it's about, again, so the treasurer's report, so our named accounts with the county, so we have, we call it maintenance, park and rec bonds, preserve, capital. Do these, again, are these just working titles, or are they in fact, anything you put in this must be, so for example, capital has $3,200 in it.
Right.
That must be used towards a capital investment purchase, what have you.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've never asked that question.
Okay.
But I don't think so, because if I can move money from one into O&M to pay it, how do they know what I'm paying it for? I think it's just established a long time ago.
Okay.
That it was well, let's park money here for this and money there. It's like multiple savings.
Sure, okay. Thank you.
Okay, I just noticed this on this page. So we have district vouchers 7081 to 7090, 7091 to 7101, and then 7101 is duplicated. So did we duplicate that amount? And so is this figure wrong, the total? I need you to check that and make sure that we're,
What page number?
oh, I'm sorry, it's this page with our signature page.
Oh, okay.
See, so you put 7101 and 7101, it's duplicated here,
Alright.
but I don't know if it's duplicated in so we just need to check that?
Well, it isn't, because this is a running total, right? So if you look
Okay,
on the voucher
okay, then it's
report
just
list-
so we do need to make that change so that it's 7102, I
Okay.
suppose, to 7111.
Okay.
So,
All right.
But anyway, and get that changed so that for our signature page.
I'll do that.
Okay, and then I was looking at the credit card statements, and we had a bunch of, it was about $100 for the egg swim. And my question was, because we never really, I think we sort of talked about it, but not a lot. Was there a payoff for this $100? Did you see an increase in attendance, excitement? Was it a good thing that we did it? Is it something
We
we?
had 5 waves of 50 kids going into the water.
Okay,
So I had 250 kids going in the water, and 50 at a time, at $4, I forget the price, it was on $450, whatever it was. So yeah, it was there was a payoff for it.
okay. Just
I
wanted to
don't
make
remember the
sure.
exact number, what we charged, but it was around $450 or something. But 250 kids came through.
Oh, and they got charged more than the $350 for open swim?
Maybe it was, whatever it was, it was, I don't remember what
Okay,
they were charged. quite-
$350 would be fine,
Yeah.
so, okay. All right, does anyone have any more discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we approve vouchers 7081 through 7117 for the amount of $23,630.43, and payroll transfers from M&O account to payroll account of $44,000, $703.70. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
It's been approved unanimously.
I'll get that page fixed, and I'll let each of you know when you can swing by and put a signature on what's done, we'll get it to county.
Okay.
We can't just,
Can you fix it tonight
You just
before we leave?
Pen it in?
If Joanne's here, it's all on her computer.
She's sitting there.
Oh, is she? Well, actually, if you let me go ask her right now,
Okay,
and
give her this.
it needs to be 7102.
Or the.
One or the other.
whatever the.
Somehow it can't be
Whatever the right thing
repeated.
is.
Yeah,
All right, I'll be right back.
just can't be repeated.
That's a good pickup, I would have never.
That's just something I always look at because they make mistakes there all the time. Or not all the time, but
Yeah.
often enough I need to
In the
check.
past times.
Yes. I'm waiting for him to come back because our first report is the levy committee and he's on it, so.
Sunday was a good day by that much.
Oh. Where was this? Is that your horse?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I
cool.
forgot you had horses.
Never got to win by that much. It's a good day.
What's the name of your horse?
His name's Archie Graham. He got named after the dock.
The what?
Dock on
Field of Dreams.
Huh?
Moonlight.
Okay, next is committee reports. Levy Committee. Do you have, anyone have anything to say?
Actually, I think we're meeting, well, CISA would normally give that, unfortunately, but our next meeting is the 16th, as you all know, because both of you are on it, and that's to talk about, you know, who from the outside that we, yes, sir.
Oh, should I return, go to that meeting?
On the 16th?
Yeah.
I think it would benefit if you came to as many as you could, if you're able.
Okay.
Yeah, and all we'll do is we will announce that we're all going and to a committee meeting. As long as we announce it, the three of us can go.
Okay.
We won't vote on anything or make any decisions. We're just,
Well, you're not even voting on district business per se.
Exactly.
As a overall, it's,
Yeah.
it's a strategy about how to.
yeah. But we do, but because there's three of us, we have
Right.
to
Yeah,
announce it. So as long as,
Okay.
and that's fine.
All right.
Although I'm not sure, Cecil may not be able to go, so.
Yes.
I'll announce it anyway in case he's in a wheelchair.
Because I don't think you
Good
sent
idea.
me any information about that meeting.
Well, I think we made that, yeah, we just picked a date for,
Okay.
because we want to keep meeting. And so, and also, we're going to talk to the county
Right,
next Tuesday morning.
But I'm the
To talk-
alternate.
Or Tuesday
Yeah.
week,
Yeah, I didn't.
Tuesday week.
Isn't it this coming Tuesday?
No, it's the 31st.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. I lost a week. But yes, and we're going to go down and talk to the county about the levy process, I think. So that'll be good for those of us who haven't had to do it before. Okay, that's the levy committee. Program review committee, Commissioner Shingleton.
Let's see, sorry. Ready. So we didn't have a chance to meet since the last regular meeting. And Commissioner Hawley and I just caught up a little bit on what we had previously done and kind of tried to reset ourselves a little bit based on the conversation last month. And so I think what we want to do, I think what we want to do is meet with you. So we kind of said this is our collective subcommittee. We want to meet with you and talk about what alternatives we can find, basically what alternatives we can find to move the NWAC program to being about having a balanced budget. And so really, I don't know, I mean, that's really kind of where we want to head in the next month, is have that discussion with you.
Okay.
You know, we certainly, we last year, we did our best to choose among alternatives, and as we all know, we made some working assumptions that are not valid. And so we need to move on, and we need to figure out what that means to us. So I think our expectation would be to have that meeting and to come to the next board meeting with some meat.
For a discussion. Do you want me to set that meeting up? Or do you want to set it up with me?
I tell you what, after the meeting tonight, if we can, I brought my calendar. Did you bring?
Sure.
Let's,
that's fine.
we'll pick a date.
Sure.
So
Okay.
for the interested public, next regular scheduled meeting, NWAC will be under discussion. So NWAC parents, please attend and give us your opinion on whatever.
I want them to change to the program review, which ones we're going to discuss, I'll have it subtitled under there.
Okay.
So that it'll be, in the meeting minutes, it'll be more apparent that NWAC's being reviewed, or Open Swim, or whatever program's being reviewed, so that you'll have more of a heads up on it.
But it's important that NWAC be discussed, because if their fees need to be changed, we were told last year it's not a good idea to change them in the middle of the year, being January. And so if we're going to change them for the next swim year, it needs to be decided. That's all.
All right.
Okay, action item review, Madam Secretary.
Right. All right, so I'm just going to go back as far as I can, and again, if it's completed, I may have missed it, and just say that it's closed.
Commissioner,
Yes.
if I may.
Yeah.
If you would be willing to meet with me
Yeah.
next week one day.
Yeah.
I can take all of this and put it into a to-do list.
Sure.
And I can keep it, and so it'll just become part of a thing, and then whenever I get the meeting minutes, or if they're not gonna, at least you can give me the action items, and I'll update it, and then it'll be there, and then it's one document that everything's on, and,
Because this process makes you bleed internally. I'm just,
well,
I'm kidding, I'm
and
kidding.
in the ears.
No, I know. There we go. Both.
If you can do that, I'm glad to do that. and
Okay.
make this process simpler.
I appreciate that very much. Anyway, that would be wonderful, thank you. So I need to write down that action item. Right? I don't want to forget this. I'm being
An
serious.
action item to create an action item.
Exactly.
God, I'm back in the Navy.
Really.
Oh, the Navy didn't invent it. Let's see. Okay, thank you, sorry. So I'm going way back here, but so the handicap parking sign for Clover Valley Dog Park.
You're up.
See?
You're up.
Successes, we love that. All right, super. Let's see, we have as still an open thing, looking at options for closing the park at night.
Yeah, I'm still looking at it. I'm not sure how it's gonna work, but the next thing we're working right now is to get the cattle gate on there with the signage about the other thing. I mean, the video screen.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say that articulately.
I knew what you meant. The EDCAS to review previous audit to ensure items are compliant. That was just a work in process.
Yeah, and truthfully, I haven't started that yet,
Okay.
but it is on my list in there.
Okay. And let's see, there are a couple. Did we ever happen to get the list of prioritized dog park improvements?
Not yet.
Okay.
Now, I've spoken with Mike Frosch, and he said it's, I wish I knew Eric's last name, but it's over to Eric right now,
Okay.
finalizing it.
Okay.
And then when they get it to me, then I'll talk to them about what they want to do.
Excellent. Let's see. EDCAS will publish requests for 2 members of the public visit the levy committee.
That was done.
Oh, excellent.
Have we had any
Committee-
bites?
Committee will set up meeting with county in the June timeframe? Is that
Well,
right?
no, it's May 31st.
Oh, okay, okay, I heard, oh, sorry, for some reason I wrote down the 16th for something.
Oh, well, that's our next meeting is the subcommittee, but Commissioner
Gotcha.
Holly and Commissioner Fort and I are going down to county on the 31st to talk to them about the annual levy process and whatever else we can get out of them in a half hour.
Okay, super,
It'll go longer than a half hour, but that was
Yeah.
scheduled for a half hour.
I
all right.
have lots of questions for them.
Let's see. Goals document distribute, done. And talk about outline is complete. This guy. So, that. Did that. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if I forgot anything.
You're doing
Okay, did that, did that. So these are all just updates. That was done. I think I might start bleeding out my ears too, so. Because this is confusing the heck out of me. I don't have any new ones. I know that there was some from the last meeting, and we'll follow up on those next month, so you get a reprieve. Yes.
I had 2 as well.
You had 2 what?
Action items that I wanted to see reviewed as well.
Well, I'm just taking what, I mean, this is stuff that we decided in the
Correct.
meeting. Okay.
Yeah. And it was, Kaz had asked that I send it to him after the March meeting, I think it was. There's 2 action items, and I know you've been really busy, but I hadn't seen those yet. But with the understanding that it's the board's job to set policy and your job to handle the day-to-day operations, there was a couple of potential policies that I wanted to see how you would put those into effect. And they were what a policy would look like, or if looking at our budgetary constraints, if we were to decide that we can't afford to pay for the medical insurance for 2 employees as their contracts allowed, what it might look like phasing that out, the pros and cons. And then the other question I had was, there was a policy that I had recommended to me by a local HR expert. And it was that all salaried employees would work a majority of their hours during core business hours. So I just wanted that as an action item, just to see how you would put those policies into effect.
Or if I would,
Well, if it was our policy, if we made it a policy, what that would look like on your end with the day-to-day operations.
well,
Put it in the employee policy manual.
if they go in, that's where they can go.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know, even though maybe we're leaning that way, I want to know what it would look like on your end and how it would affect you in your day-to-day operations before we do something rash. You know, I want to see what it would look like on the business end, if you will.
I have a copy actually of the employee manual
Yes.
page from Fidalgo Island, and basically they list their working hours. Working hours for all employees are variable to conform with the pool schedule. The standard worksheet for administrative business purposes is 8 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday with 1 hour unpaid lunch. Individual departments may establish working hours that meet the needs of their particular customer base. The standard working schedule for regular full-time employees consists of 40 hours each per week. So, it seems pretty clear to me that they basically want their employees there from more or less from 8 to 5 and 40 hours a week.
I feel that the votes are certainly there to pass it, but I want to see what the pros and cons on your end are before we do so.
I disagree. I don't at all think, because I've sat in here last year when we were working on the handbook, I sat in here and I
Yes.
watched, and it's like, they don't work regular weeks. Their hours are all over the place. And so, and I don't think they need to keep regular hours.
But can we just take a little process check here? So this action item review
Yeah.
is intended to be things that the board identifies that need to be done. And I think my concern about that is we didn't assign him that as a
A
board.
single board member can ask for an action item, though.
No,
That's been our
you
policy
can
thus
ask for
far.
information.
But this is from meetings and stuff, and I don't, you said you sent it to him in an email.
It was a topic that was brought up in the March meeting, and he asked if I would do a follow-up so he didn't forget because it was late in the meeting.
Okay.
And it is on the
Originally came up in
YouTube.
December.
It is on the YouTube video. Yes, it originally came up in December. It
Okay.
has also came up in our bylaws committee meetings. It has came up multiple times.
Okay.
But to me, the problem with that, Commissioner Hoffmeyer, is that sounds like something that's going to take would take a fair amount of his time. And so personally, I don't support doing that right now. If we want to talk about it as a board and then ask him to explore it.
Can I say one thing?
Well,
to
if I
that?
can just
Yes.
finish my point, if we want to do that, and I think that's for many things,
Yes.
that where we decide that, hey, we would like him to explore this, but that we decide that that's something that we would like to ask him to do, as opposed to, one of the things that we talked about this in the last meeting a little bit is given the historical kind of misdirection of 5 people asking him to do things that may not even complement each other, and him only being one person and having a certain amount of time, I just am concerned about anything that is more than a simple question. So I'm done. Thanks.
This is where I was coming from on it. Take it for what it is. I was told by the aquatics director that a salaried employee that is getting paid pretty well works less than 20 hours a week. We've been told by multiple members in the community, and I would like not to go in depth any more than that.
I would think things could be accomplished around here a lot more. For example, the shower heads could probably have been repaired in the bathrooms by now. He would have had, if he'd been here 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and being able to go in there and fix those. I mean, I look at the report. I talked to you about having a more extensive report from the maintenance director about what he does, and because well, let me tell you, Fidalgo has a nice one. He talks about how he paints this and he cleans up that and so on and so forth. We get none of that from so I'm not sure And why are we paying for a weekend backup when he only works on the weekend, apparently, and nights?
Well, first off, Commissioner, that's incorrect. He works here all the time. Since March, he's been keeping track of his hours. In one pay period, it was our one 90-something hours. He thumbs in. You can't cheat the system. He thumbs in and then thumbs out. So unless he's coming in at 6 o'clock in the evening, thumbing in, and coming back in at midnight and thumbing out, there's no way to cheat the system in there.
90 hours a week he's working in.
Well, in 1 week, he did 92 point something hours
In a week or a pay period?
in a pay period, which is 2 weeks.
And how does he do that and work his other job 40 hours a week?
Well, there's a lot of weekend stuff, I'm sure, on Saturdays, and he's here at night, and he comes in at 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, he comes in and he puts a lot of work in there. The showers, I know it's frustrating, and the maintenance items on the list that haven't been fixed, but we had no money from January until the beginning of this month. Or actually, until a few days ago when we got the treasurer report that said we had a $226,000 dump of tax money. So what could he have done on no money in there? I don't know what he could have done. He had quotes ready, he was ready to go. The parts are on, they're in shipment right now, coming here. When they get here, he'll put all the shower heads in, except for one. He ordered one too short, so he's gonna order a set.
He will put those in, because apparently a plumber came in and put this other one in, I guess.
That was a shower deck thing that the plumber had to fix. That's,
Uh-huh.
Yes, but the shower heads, fixing the little valves in there so the shower heads do that. Matt does that, yes.
Okay, yeah.
How much do we pay Matt for the year?
His salary is $38,150.
Yeah.
Plus
The-
the health insurance, plus 16%, for.
Okay, the facilities guy at Fidalgo gets $65,000 a year, just so you know.
Okay. That is good to know.
But
Don't let
that's
Matt-
why he's,
Don't let Matt know.
I know, please don't listen, Matt.
He won't.
Okay, so I would say if you want those topics to be, for him to look at them, I would like a motion,
Yeah.
okay?
And with that said, whatever our policy is, I would expect that it would be put into effect properly,
And this was, what you'd said was you want him to look at it, but I don't think there's gross agreement across the board.
When, as Richard said, it was talked about in December, it was talked about in March, so I'm trying to figure out at this point if my motion would be for more direction, or if it would just be for a policy and to see how that's put into effect. So I have a motion. People will know where I stand, and if it doesn't pass, that's okay. So my motion is, I would like our policy to be that salaried employees work a majority of their hours during core business hours. And I'm not going to define what those are. I feel that is day to day.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I think, if I may, I think regardless of whether we move forward with this or not, I don't think that it should be voted on tonight. I think this is the very definition of something that isn't an open public meeting because it's not on the agenda. It didn't get added to the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. And so I think I think everyone has the best of intentions. We're proceeding down a path of something that is while it will end up on YouTube after the fact. I think it's a bad decision.
I concur. I'm going to table this for next month's meeting, and then we can.
Doesn't that have to pass?
No, I can table anything. I'm tabling it because it is a major policy decision, and we're
It affects one employee.
So why are we targeting one employee?
We're not.
Wait a minute,
We are.
how many salaried employees do you think we have? We have 4 salaried employees.
3 of them are here during the day. I don't feel
They-
it's major at all.
It affects, no, you are wrong. So that's why this is a major thing that he needs to have time to prepare a thing. We all need more information. That's why it's gonna be tabled, because you don't
It
know.
has to be voted on to be tabled.
No, it doesn't. I'm the chair, I can table it if I want to.
I
It does not have to be,
I don't
guess
think
what?
that's legal.
I'm the chair, I'm tabling it, I'm not canceling, I'm just tabling it because it's a major discussion point that we're not trying to back end anybody with.
So-
So this is something that we're gonna talk about. Your
Okay.
motion will come back up, we'll talk about it, but it's something that needs a lot of thought. He needs time to prepare what he wants.
So
I-
basically, he's
I
going to do what, I mean, Commissioner Hoffmeyer asked initially whether
Yes.
he look into this, and then suddenly, there were some other commissioners here who said, no, we can't, it would take up too much of his time. Now we're saying he's going to look into it. Which
I
is
don't- I
what
don't
he
think it
originally
should.
asked in the first place.
So you're getting what you
I
want?
will be on the phone with the Attorney General's office in the morning. I don't think it can be tabled.
Okay.
I think it has to be voted on. One person can't table something.
Well, if you want to be on the phone with them,
But
then
I think
also
it's-
ask them about
Well, I already
bringing
know
up.
what the law says, so I will be.
Well, what I'm trying to say is then why don't, while you're at it, why don't you also ask about bringing up things that aren't on the agenda?
I already know what the law says there as well, and we're allowed to.
Okay.
I mean, I think we can wait, because he's going to do now what you originally asked him to do.
I think we
And
can
then we
wait.
can vote on it next
I just-
month, and I
don't
think that's
agree with-
okay, but.
I don't agree with the precedent that the chair can table anything they wish.
All right, I'm not sure about that.
We could have 4-1 and the chair could still table something they don't approve with.
Yeah.
That's obviously not how.
I watched Commissioner Merrill and I watched Commissioner Pierce table stuff.
Only when that was the will of the board.
Do you want to vote on it tonight? I think this needs more preparation, it needs more time. It's too important a matter to just vote on willy-nilly out of thin air, even though, yes, you brought it up before.
I'm
and
not defining what a majority of their hours are. It would obviously be slightly more than half at least, or what core business hours are. I'm leaving that all up to him, so I really think we're leaving him plenty of wiggle room to make it work.
Yeah.
So I would like to vote on it tonight. But that's
Yeah,
just
certainly
me.
a lot more wiggle room than they left.
I think
A lot more wiggle room than the guy in Anacortes has.
I think it's too important. I think it needs to be discussed a month from now.
I've said
Make
what I
a
have to say.
motion.
I would like to vote.
I can't, I'm the chair. I have watched Commissioner
My
Merrill and I
understanding-
watched Commissioner Pierce table things.
I'm not the chair, but my understanding would be that there is a motion on the floor and a second, and I feel that a vote should be called for, but I
I'm,
can't do that. I'm not the chair.
I am pretty confident that I have the authority to table things that need to be discussed later, and it wasn't, so we're tabling it. And if you call the Attorney General your good friend, please do, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or right. Thank you.
I wouldn't say that.
So,
I wouldn't say that on that.
next topic is unfinished business.
I wouldn't say that I'm not
Executive
gonna-
Director evaluation process and schedule.
will call him.
I called Fidalgo Pool and Oak Harbor School District as required. And you'll remember that last time, or some of you weren't on the board, last time when we did the acting director's thing, what we did was, we all wrote out our reports on Erica, gave them to Commissioner Merrill. He kind of collated them together, and that collation, without really being looked at by the rest of us or said, yeah, this is good, that was what was the report that was given to her. What Fidalgo Pool does, they have a personnel committee which consists of one commissioner, one outside person who's like an HR person, and the executive director is the personnel committee. So the commissioner that's on the personnel committee, she gets everyone's input from the rest of the board. She puts them together. She puts that all put together, sends them out to the commissioners, and then the commissioners come back to her and say, oh yeah, this looks good, or, well, I really don't agree with you, you negated my really important point here. So basically, then once she has an approved thing from the 5 individual boards, she then gives that, she or he then gives that to the director. So it's still kind of it's collated, but it's not really. The school district, the way they do it, they have a standardized evaluation form that all school superintendents in the state of Washington use. Each school board member completes the rating comments. They are collected and sent to the president of the school board. He compiles them. Then they all get in a meeting and they review the collated one in executive session, and they talk it out, they come up with, here's what we're comfortable with. And that's how they do it. I asked him about, but you're making a decision in executive session. He said, yeah, but they're not taking action on behalf of the board. They're not doing compensation. That has to be in public. So I was thinking what we could do is we could do it the way the school district does it, except that, so we come up, we collate everything, and we come up with it, and here's the collated thing. We all finally come to an agreement so that it's a cohesive 5-member report. And then we come out of executive session and we vote and say, yeah, what we just agreed on in there is what the report is going to be. Does that sound like reasonable to everybody? Because once we've signed it, it actually becomes public document anyway. So it's not like it's going to be a big secret. Comments? Is there a preferable way to doing it?
Is this the standard forms that you would use? The one
Yeah, and I would say, because we've already used that one, or we were going to,
Right.
and that'll be the next point. Do we want to use that form?
Right, I had a question for
Didn't we already vote to it? We voted
I thought-
to adopt it.
We did, you're right, thank you.
the director though on this form. Does most of this stuff in here, I guess, I haven't sort of tried to correspond what you wrote on here with what's written in your job description in your contract and the bylaws. Is this most of the stuff that's in the bylaws? I would think we should be evaluating you based on your job description.
I can double check that, it's loosely correlated around it, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it maps exactly the way you're describing.
Okay. I mean, wouldn't you think we should, isn't that reason we have a job description so that you can, when you evaluate somebody, you can sort of say, oh, this is his job description, this is what he's doing, and this is how well he meets his job description. Other things too. But
Do you want to revisit, because we already agreed to use the form.
yeah, I know, I agree.
Oh, okay.
No, I just had that question.
Okay, maybe for the next time. Right now,
Yeah.
we're just trying, what process are we going to use? Does anyone have a thought?
Well, I think the Fidalgo one is interesting. I don't think that we're in a position, that might be a great strategic item for us moving forward, perhaps, but I don't think that we're in a position to be able to execute that process right now because we don't have what's it called, the personnel committee or whatever.
Exactly.
We don't have that in working order. So perhaps if we adopted a process similar to the school district.
Yeah, I liked the school districts with the proviso that we, come out of the executive session and just say, we vote to what we just wrote in there is what is going to be the thing, and that's the vote taken.
So the vote would be in public.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a couple things on that.
Okay.
First of all, before this item is tabled, I would like to point out that to lay a pending question aside temporarily when something else immediately urgent has arisen or when something else is needed to be addressed before consideration, it must be done by a majority vote and without debate.
Let me see.
So that's Robert's rule. So that's before we table this item, and then I do have...
Okay, you don't have to be snarky. Thank you.
My second question is, looking over his contract, it's not quite clear to me if the 6-month evaluation period was just kind of I don't mean this in a derogatory manner, if it was just kind of a dog and pony show, if you will, but to help direct him of where we wanted him at the 1-year mark, or if it was a typical probation period. So I was trying to work through that. Cecil, when he was on the part of the board that went through the hiring process,
Right.
and I watched his opinion on who was getting hired maybe changed that process. So when he said that he felt it was an evaluation period, I definitely take him at his word on that. So with that said, being an evaluation process, it's so hard for me to figure out were there X number of benchmarks set where we expected the director or the district to be within 6 months or a year, or when we're scoring him on this sheet, for instance, 1 to 5, what are we comparing him to? Past directors here, the director of other pools? That's the hardest part for me. And
If I may.
Please, thank you.
Yeah, no, I think I think those are all really good questions.
Yes.
And the original purpose, and you can certainly tell me if you believe differently, but the original purpose was because there were items that we knew. So there were really two things. One was it's kind of a progress report, right?
Okay.
I think that's part of it. The other part of it was there were some items requested that we knew that we did not have, one, the money to provide in terms of compensation. They were wasn't just I want, it wasn't more pay, there were some other items that no one had ever asked before. And so part of that was also to evaluate alternate forms of compensation. That sounds mysterious, and it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
But like we talked about the executive
Exactly.
leave, and we wanted to be sure we didn't feel comfortable because we didn't know certain items, can we or can't we do this. We had to make an offer to the current executive director. We had to make an offer to him in the frame of what we knew we could offer.
yes.
So it was both of those things. It was really the purpose behind it. And my recommendation to you would be, while I completely, if your thoughts moving forward were benchmarks, et cetera, I think that's wonderful, and I think that's where we would I would love to be there. We don't have any, we would have written them down and published them to him. I think it's the right thing for us to do moving forward. But what I would suggest to you in terms of that evaluation is, I wouldn't compare that to any previous person. I would look at it in terms of the job that you think that person should be doing, which is why the 5 people with 5 disparate ideas sometimes,
Yes.
or up to 5 disparate ideas, can be difficult, and why those benchmarks, et
Yes.
cetera, moving forward will really benefit us and him and the district.
And I would also point out something that I will do, and hopefully you guys will do as well, all of us. If he is doing something that 3 or 4 board members have told him to do, whether we agree with it or not, I would hope that we would score him based on how he is putting into effect what the majority of the board has said, whether it's a policy we agree with or not, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's something that there's been some things I don't agree with. But I'm not going to hold that against him. So I
Very
understand
adult.
that he's in a. I don't envy your job. I can tell you that.
I don't want yours.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're still talking about process. We're supposed to
Yes.
discuss process and schedule. I need a motion on the process of how do we want to do it? Does somebody want to make a motion on which process to use?
Sure. Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the process used by the Oak Harbor School District for evaluation for the 6-month evaluation of the executive director.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the Oak Harbor School District process for the 6-month evaluation of our current executive director. Discussion, further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Do we have a point in time where we expect that to come back, next regular meeting, or?
Well, we're going to talk about that after,
Okay.
the timing,
Okay.
we can.
Yes, then,
Are you and I?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's been unanimously approved to adopt the process for Oak River School District for the 6 month. So do we want to have a separate meeting? And I would say yes, would be, or let me put it this way. Maybe what we need to do is everyone fill out the form that we have and give it to somebody. I'll take it for consolidation, and we will meet in executive session at and I will have sent them out beforehand to everybody so you can look at them. And then we should be able to get, belted out in executive session within half an hour. So does that sound like a decent timeline to do it at our next meeting on the 23rd of June?
Provide
Does
them to you by when?
Okay, today is the 19th of May. Can you get them to me by the 31st of May? That will give me several weeks to consolidate
one more
them.
question there. I'm not opposed to the consolidation. I would like to see the director be able to see the individual sheets before they were consolidated as well, if that's possible.
Have him see them?
At some
Oh,
point, I would
I-
like him to see that.
You know what,
yes.
and I don't think that's a problem.
I agree with consolidating them.
I
so
think he
knows where
needs,
to go.
because we speak as a
Correct,
voice.
yes.
And he needs to know what
Yes.
the whole,
But-
but yeah, and I agree, and a lot of the individual comments will
Correct.
be in that consolidated form anyway.
Okay.
So, and I'm still trying to decide, do I just, anyway, we'll talk about it at the meeting of what I've done, and then you can come, if you just like how I've consolidated, you just come and say, I don't like what you did to my comment or my vote or whatever, and we'll talk about it. That's what it's all about. Okay,
Madam
so,
Chair, question.
yes.
Wouldn't our, would I understand correctly that our individual contributions regardless would be public record? I believe that they would.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where I was going, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, they would be anyway.
Okay, so everyone get your input to me then. No, close of business on the 31st of May. Close of business is 5 p.m., 1700. And then I will have them back to you with at least a week to spare so you can review
So how do
them.
we get them to you? Do we hand them to him?
Oh,
If,
there's a folder up front with my name on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
you have one too, supposedly,
I
with your
didn't- I
name.
didn't know that.
yeah, so if you bring them in a sealed envelope, you put them in there and then she'll swing them. in.
Okay,
I
all right.
won't
Yeah.
see them.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you guys present me.
So if you want to do that, or you can send them to me electronically, whichever works best for you, because I don't think we have the form electronically, so just scribble them out, and as long as I can read your writing, we're good to go.
Well, actually,
I don't promise.
do you have that form electronically? That would certainly be much easier.
Yes.
Could
Okay.
you provide that to all of us?
So you can do it either way, so, all right.
Hold, please. All right, so you will have them, and then you will have them back to us via what vehicle by what day?
Electronically and I will have it to you no later than close of business on the 16th of June.
Right, marked as a draft.
Yes.
So I just want to be sure we have tripped up on these things before, and that 6 month clock is closing on a year.
Okay.
Before we move on, can we add one more thing in here?
Does it have to do with the process and schedule?
I thought we were
Okay.
done with that, after that item.
It depends what it is.
For the sake of doing things right, I don't want to go against what you decided earlier, but I would like for us to have a majority vote on that at some point, just so we're all on the clear. And I'm on the record as I will vote to table it as well, if it is brought up. I would like to see it done right, if that's okay with everybody.
Okay, we will go back to the discussion of whatever it was. The policy views salaried employees work majority of hours during the core business hours.
Yes, I would like to table, I
So
would,
you move that to table
I
it.
move that that's tabled to the next regular meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we table that to be discussed at the next regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimously approved. And what you showed me is not, I'm gonna look it up,
Yeah,
and I will let you.
Robert's rule that we supposedly go by.
No,
And it's
we
not.
do go by,
Yes.
but it talked about tabling, but
Yes.
it didn't say the chair couldn't. So you might be right, like I said. I'm gonna look it up,
Okay.
and you will look it up,
I
and
know, we all know we're good for sure now, though.
okay. All right, the next one is salaried employees. Was
Yes.
that your salaried,
It's
or is this a different topic?
Totally different.
So okay,
It's salaried, but it's totally different.
that's fine. So, what your,
So, do we have, this is a question for Kaz, do we have salaried employees that are making less than, what is it, 47,500 a year that are considered exempt from overtime?
I don't have a salaried employee that gets paid overtime.
They're considered exempt then?
That would be my guess.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the
So-
new rule that
So,
Obama,
two days ago, the Department of Labor, for the first time in 25 years, it was, let me get the exact number here, real quick. So it was that salaried employees that were considered exempt making more than $23,660 a year were exempt from overtime. That number now has been bumped up to $47,476.
oh shoot, I heard
Which
about that.
I would assume
I
will
didn't
probably
know.
affect all 4 salaried employees. Now, you said that Matt's already keeping track of his hours, and I think that's a good thing. But certainly, there's some onus on the employee to keep track of their hours, but I think it's very imperative that the district track the hours of all 4 salaried employees and any other salaried employees into the future. Therefore, somebody doesn't come back in 3 years and say, "Oh, you guys didn't pay me for 3,000 hours of work," and that might be a case that we would lose in
Overtime.
court.
Would you look at that and make sure that it's
Yeah, you
something
need to
that,
look into that.
hopefully there's somewhere that it doesn't apply to us or whatever, because we don't have the money to
Now
pay
with,
overtime
well, that's
to
the
those
thing,
people.
exactly.
That's the problem.
Yes.
Well, is there a proviso, I don't know if you've read it all the way through, is there a proviso for the employee to decline?
No.
They never do that, because then the employer forces the employee to
Sure.
do so, and so they
yeah, they'll never
You
do
know.
It's a
that.
big recreation here.
No, I know,
Yeah, but-
I know Erica's in charge of enough people to where she's definitely an exempt employee, there's no way around it. So, and if she's making less than that, then that would apply.
There-
The swim coach, he seems like he kind of runs his own ship, so it seems like he has some managerial duties, so it seems like he's probably exempt. And Matt, if he supervises any maintenance workers.
None of our salaried employees have been getting paid overtime.
So they're all 3 exempt then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are all 4 exempt?
All 4
So-
exempt.
And
And
if
so-
they all 4 make less than $47,476, this
I
could
think,
be an issue.
and I think the only one that makes more than that is, you make more than that, right?
Coach makes 47.
Yeah, so I knew the coach was,
So what some people would do then, so I don't know if this is the intent of the law, but it's not prohibited within the law. So what a lot of people might do is give him a $500 a year raise then and you're golden. So that's how a lot of people would get around that if you're within a few $1,000s of that threshold.
Sure.
They'd just give him that raise
because I'm fairly confident, a coach works 7 days a week.
Yes, exactly.
And I don't know how many
I-
days, but it's like, he must work more than 40
There has
hours
to
a
be
week,
weeks he
so.
works- There has to be weeks he works 60.
Please look at that law and get.
It goes into effect December 1st, so you
So
do have some time.
let's make sure that comes on the agenda next week, and we'll talk about it, next month, sorry. And we'll talk about
Time
that.
moves fast for her.
I know, I know.
Hello. So let's make sure we talk about that. And even if you haven't had a chance to look at the law or whatever, just tell us that. But this will stay on there until we figure out what we're
I
gonna
may
do.
have a plan, but I'll at least look at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was an awesome
Oh,
topic to
absolutely.
bring
No.
up.
And also part of that's gonna be imperative deciding what's white collar and what's blue collar, because that's kind of where it all comes down on, to be an exempt employee, you have to have like some supervision or some managerial duties.
Commissioner,
Yes.
just cover my white
Right?
and blue shirt.
You got both. You got blue and white.
I'm whatever I have to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully
Okay.
hopefully the Department of Labor has some better definitions, that you could read through?
I will research that with Joanne.
Awesome, thank you.
And maybe the paychecks people even have, it's going to affect them too.
That's a good idea.
so-
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
Okay, next topic, media policy. That's what we talked about last meeting. And I've given you, what I wrote up is what the consensus was. And I listened to the minutes. We talked about it during bylaws. I listened to the minutes. And so what I wrote, you got this little paragraph. Please read through it now. And I apologize for not getting to you earlier, but I didn't do it till this morning. And let's talk about it. And then if we need to, think about it some more, and that's fine too, because I just got it to you tonight. So maybe read it. If you want to think about it, we'll table this till next month as well. But
What prompted this?
remember we talked about, don't you remember the bylaws? We were talking bylaws, we talked about
Right.
media policy.
Okay.
It has to do with, I know I talked to the media, and anyway.
That was a question I had there. I know, I think it was back in December, Commissioner Shingleton and Commissioner Hawley were in the newspaper. And though you probably told the newspaper you were only speaking for yourself, they're not going to put that in there.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is
Yes.
what is our policy? And the answer is, we want to talk to the media.
Correct.
The media has been
Absolutely.
can be your friend, it can be
Yes.
your not friend.
Absolutely.
And so, but we also want the district to have kind of the board to have a united front.
Yeah.
But you're also an individual, I'm an individual. And so, it's like, we have our own opinions, but you have to be really, really careful.
Yeah, I
when
thought
you're-
that sort of presentation we get from when we first started, was sort of implying that we shouldn't be talking to the media on our own. We should be directing them to either come to the meeting, board meeting, and we could discuss it here, or we would direct them to the director, but we shouldn't be doing it as an individual.
But when they ask questions,
And
That was the recommendation.
yeah, that's what I thought too.
no, but when you listen, if you listen to it, that's not what what the commissioner or the chairman said. Because
No,
it's
I'm
like.
just saying- I was referring to when Bruce
Oh.
was here giving us the training.
He recommended that we
and-
switch lawyers and a few other things too, so
Yeah.
take some things with a grain of salt, I suppose.
He did say that, but it's like, we haven't given up our rights to have an opinion.
Yeah.
By
Well, I'm
being
not saying you can
commissioners.
have an opinion, you can have an opinion, but there's sort of basic places to present it. So I would think the
Yes.
best basic form to present it is in an open public meeting or a regular meeting.
Yes,
Or rather than going as an individual to the press and sort of giving your opinion.
yes.
And I thought we weren't supposed to, it was sort of, what Bruce sort of said is that's probably not the way to do it, an individual going to the press. We should basically have them say, if they have a question, come to the regular meeting, bring it up to the board as a total, and we can all discuss it then. They can get our opinion then.
Yeah.
I know when and if I speak to the media, even if I was asked to, I'm not going to speak for the board. I'm going to speak for myself and let them know that. How they word that in the newspaper, who knows how that gets. It's pretty clear that the reason our insurance company would rather we didn't is because it does increase the potential for litigation. So I would definitely encourage everybody to not say anything to the press that our lawyer wouldn't want us to say. And maybe go a step further and not say anything that our mother wouldn't want us to say either. And I think if we follow some of those steps, I think we'll be fine. Because I personally feel it's imperative that we talk to the media because
As an individual.
as an individual, correct? Because I feel without that, I see that we've gotten some good press lately. Commissioner Hawley and Shingleton have been quoted in a few stories, and I think those were some good press stories for the most part. And that's just my opinion.
Well,
So as far as
I can say I will not speak with the press as an individual. They can certainly come to the board meeting and ask me questions there.
Okay. Take this home with you.
thank you.
Make changes to it, and we'll talk about it next week. I want to have something in writing.
Next month.
Next month, sorry.
Doing it.
Next month, we'll talk about it. So, come back and we'll talk about it again. And, this was my take of what was discussed from the, listening to it, so.
May I haven't
Yeah.
said anything about this.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Two things. One is realize sometimes when we're quoted that it comes from actually the meeting audio.
Yes, yes.
So just
Absolutely.
be aware of that, because I've certainly seen that in my case previously. And I think the other one that just comes to mind about this is, well, when we talk about being an individual, and maybe I'm just a little muddled on this one, but I think it depends on the frame in which you do that. If they're calling to ask you something as it relates to, and this is where maybe the clarification will or would help, but when they're calling to ask you about the meeting the previous day, they're asking you as a commissioner, they're asking you as you know, so you're not an individual at that point, or at least this is the way I see it. If you're sending an email from your oakharborpool.org account, you're not an individual, you're a commissioner. And and maybe there's disparate, again, beliefs on what that, whether that is true or not. So, you know, I can think of an example where, I don't remember what year it was, but anyway, the board chair wrote a letter to the editor for the paper, and I assume signed it, chair, I assume that the paper did not just assign that title, and it was an action that was not sanctioned by the board, and it was upsetting, because it was the person was sharing things that they were unhappy about, and while fortunately that's not where we're at right now, it would be unfortunate and hopefully we don't have to worry about it going back there. But I'm just using that as an example where I opened the paper and I was surprised and I was upset because I was concerned with the portrayal of the district. That's really what upset me, right? It wasn't just, well, I didn't get to show in my opinion. It was, it makes us look bad. So.
I think my last thought on it is, and sometimes if the stuff really hits the fan, maybe it would be nice to have a policy that we could refer to, but maybe not be obligated to. I think the biggest thing is, you know, none of us are an employee of the district. You know, the executive director can't fire us. You know, so therefore, I think being elected to a public board, I don't think you give up your constitutional
And
First Amendment
that's my
rights.
very first thing, is like, we are individuals who have
Yes.
the right to express their opinions.
Exactly.
That's the number
And that's
one,
I
but,
lean towards liking how you have it worded.
thank you. Okay, so, but that's the point, we have the right to express our opinion, but we just have to be careful. And I think it's good to set that in writing, but go ahead, review it, see if you agree with, I tried to be, you know,
And there maybe there's some wording that we could get from our lawyer to where if the newspaper is going to quote us, maybe we can obligate them to word it as
Okay.
such possibly.
you do know how much the lawyer costs per hour, right?
Yeah.
I understand that, and maybe if we would look through MSRC, maybe we would find somebody in the past that has had a similar question.
I think
Maybe.
I think that's a good idea, and I will do that. I will look at, is it MSRC? Is they're our new guys?
No.
No.
No, the
No,
new,
that's
the new guy,
that's
who's the new, who's
that's
our,
the municipal.
MRSC or.
yeah, I didn't say, who's our new guys?
CIAW.
See, I will check with CIAW
There
and
you
see
go.
if they have a boilerplate
Yes.
thing that will work for,
And it-
you know,
and even
and if
though-
I see that, I'll send that
And even
out.
though we're not a member of the municipal Research Service Center,
Uh-huh.
there is a lot of cases to where people that are members with them, they've already done the research and they put all the answers online.
Oh, so we can still,
So you
okay,
can still get
We
online.
can't
I know
submit
there's-
questions.
but we, okay,
They're
all
not
right.
allowed, it's because of where their funding source comes from. We're not a
Okay.
member. We're not a municipality, so they're not allowed to spend money researching stuff
Right.
for us.
I will look at both CIAW, MRSC, see if they have
Yes.
any,
Awesome, thank you.
and then if I find one, I will send that out too. So again, this will be discussed next month, so, okay?
Just one more thing, just if I could just, so being that this is now a public document, I'm very uncomfortable with the fact that it doesn't say proposed or draft on it.
Oh, you're right.
Because it makes it sound like it is our media policy. We do not have one.
That is correct, and I'm sorry,
okay. I
I
just-
should have thought, okay, so write draft across your copy to make.
Sorry.
No, you are exactly correct, and I should have thought of that, and maybe I'll, you know. Okay,
And I would say, where it says, if commissioners feel unable or ill-equipped to discuss the board's opinion, refer the media to the executive director or encourage them to come to the regular board meeting.
Okay. That's the stuff we'll talk about next week, is any
Wow.
changes that you want, you know. So read through it, let it, okay.
Didn't even catch that one.
I did, what'd you say?
I said month.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right, that was media policy. Vehicle and kayak sales. Casman.
You should have in front of you a process for the sales district property.
Is this the one that we used last year?
This is the lawyer-approved process
Okay. From last year?
from last year, yes. So what we have are 2 vehicles, and we have, it's either 4 or 6. I think it's 4 kayaks that we need to get, that we're going to sell. They're surplus right now. So no decisions are being made today. What I wanted to do today was just go, here's the process, and I want to kick the process off and offload these surplus items, the surplus property, so that they're gone, and it clears out some of my back space back there, cleans it up some. And what money we make on it, okay, cool. I don't think
After
we're gonna make-
advertising,
What's that?
after cost of advertising.
Yeah, which is anywhere from probably $400 to $800, depending on
Right.
what we have to do.
Okay, so are you gonna come to us with the, next month with your list of what you want to get rid of? and-
Yes, so
Okay,
that'll be the process. So really, the next step is, next month, I will come to you and with a list of what the staff considers to be surplus property, at which point you will have to unanimously vote to declare it surplus property, and then unanimously, you can probably do it in one vote. We declare it surplus property and vote to, get rid of it.
does it really have to be unanimous?
Yes, that's what it says. Mhm.
I can't believe that a quorum, the 3 out of 5 can't, a majority vote, because everything's decided by a majority.
It could be lawyer being super conservative about it and making sure that
Okay.
nothing goes wrong. But it's stuff that needs to be disposed of anyway and out of our hands. The vehicles are not being covered on insurance right now anyway.
Okay,
So we're not paying for them.
So they won't get to test drive them.
No, it'll be probably an as-is. Matt will do a few things to, put air in the tires, make sure the engine runs and stuff like that. But, when we cleaned the building back a month ago or so, we actually found out that the Isuzu Trooper was white instead of green. Because all the algae on it.
oh my God.
So it's actually white. But anyway, I'll bring you an itemized list of what the things are, VIN numbers, serial numbers on the kayaks if they have them. And then that'll be the vote. And then from there, it'll go into this process. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we've tried to sell the kayaks once before, put a lot of money into advertising. These 4 didn't get sold. When's the end? I mean, when will we say, are we going to continue, if they don't sell this time, are we going to continue advertising, spending money to try and sell them, or are we going to just say, let's dispose of them, or same with the vehicles? I would think that, eventually it's going to be not cost effective to keep advertising and trying to sell these things.
And I don't know that we can just dispose of those things, dispose of them.
So what we need to find out is what we can do if they don't sell this time.
Wendy remembers from last year, I'm
Okay.
guessing.
Right, a couple of
Okay.
things. One is, do you have the list that Erica had created for us already? It'll have all the information about the kayaks we still have.
Yeah, somewhere in there, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I just, so the reason why we did not continue to pursue trying to sell them last year was because we recognized that our investment in that process was beyond what we were willing to spend.
Right.
After we had already spent it.
Beyond what we probably would gain from selling them.
And unfortunately, because in some cases we had people sitting here who were interested in a kayak but felt like they could, well, I only put a bid in for this one, and then there were no bids on another one, and like, can I buy that one too? And we looked back at our process and we were like,
Yeah, I mean-
no. And it was like, the person is willing to write us a check right now, but we don't want to do it the wrong way.
We've got more stuff to sell now, so it might be worked out, but I mean, we
But
can't
it's
continue doing
But
it.
it's a longer list.
Right.
And there was, and here's the part I don't remember. So Commissioner Steve Hoffmeyer, just distinguish. He did research the process in terms of could we donate them, dispose of them. I believe the answer was no, we couldn't donate them.
That was the answer, correct.
Okay, and so we might even just want to refer back to that a little bit, but.
Can we give them to the city or something, or whatever?
I will go find those minutes, because I took really complete minutes, and so his answer is there in the minutes.
And if it costs more to sell something than it's worth, I think the law clearly allows us to deem that as not of any value and to dispose of it.
I think we can dispose of it, like,
Yes.
take it to the dump, but it's like, we're not allowed, donating
sit
is
it on the side of the
actually
road, and if somebody takes it free.
Exactly.
free.
Leave the keys in it.
Now, as far as the two vehicles, I haven't looked at them, but it seems like they would be of some value.
And the reason we
Yeah,
also
sure.
stopped last year was because we were getting into colder months, and we said we would be better able to sell these kayaks in the spring.
Now,
And unfortunately now it's
And I don't
May,
think
but
there's any, I'm not trying to be a funny guy here, I'm actually half serious. I don't think there's anything in the law that precludes us from making a package deal. I think that we could strap 2 kayaks to both of those vehicles and be good.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
So,
A bonus.
A
That's a good
vacation
one.
module.
I don't know.
Gifting tax kayaks.
There you go.
yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
I will look into, as you are too, Commissioner Hawley, I'll look into can we dispose of the stuff? Okay.
I will do that. I'll get to you within, the next 4 or 5 days.
So
I will
you
get
want-
you what we already found out, and then you
Okay.
can further investigate.
I'll wait
Okay?
until then.
All right.
Anyway, that's it for the kayak stuff.
Okay,
Thank you.
next is everyone done on kayak and car sales? Next is the staff reports. Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
Seemed like I had a couple. If somebody else would like to go first, I'll review again.
Doc, do you got anything?
I already asked him the question I had to ask about the,
Commissioner Singleton?
Of course I have questions.
I knew you would.
So, question regarding, with Erica leaving us, with our aquatics director leaving us, will we have any gap in coverage?
Read number 2.
Yeah, no, I'm aware
Oh,
of that.
okay.
But I read it.
Okay.
And therefore, my follow-on question is, is there anything that only she can teach?
Erica?
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she's the only one. In fact, there are only a couple around here. There's a Jason up in
Bellingham.
Bellingham, who's an IT. Basically, they can teach instructors.
Okay, so she's a WSI instructor.
She's an LGIT and a WSIT, and those are not easy to get.
Okay, so things like, so we understand that there'll be a gap for us there, and some impact.
It'll take working with the Bellingham guy to,
Okay.
with how we get future lifeguard instructors done.
And so things like the babysitting course,
Those are pretty simple. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not hard.
Okay.
wait a second. WSI can teach lifeguards, can't they?
No, WSI teaches water safety and swim lessons.
Okay,
basically.
so I thought the WSI IT was to teach other WSI
Yeah, they teach other
as opposed to
WSIs.
teaching, what's the designation for lifeguard instructor then?
They teach people how to be lifeguard instructors.
Who does? WSIT?
No, the LGIT.
LGIT, that's what we
Yes.
won't have.
We will not have that with the
Okay.
WSIT.
LGIT stands for lifeguard instructor. Okay,
Yeah,
so,
instructor.
so we'd have to send them to someplace else.
Or if we can get a time whenever Anacortes
Oh.
is having a need, that
Right.
we can get them together at
Right.
Anacortes and.
Right, 'cause
we'll
right
have to-
now
we'll
they
have to
s-
somehow compensate.
Right now, they
for
send their
travel.
people over here to get lifeguard training, yeah,
Right.
okay.
Do we have sorry, I'm going through my questions. Do we have an update on the sauna? What's the current status of the
No, and when Matt was here before the meeting, I didn't ask him that question, but the latest that I got from him Monday was that the folks over at Sun and Sauna or whatever, I think it's the one in Burlington, had not gotten back to him. So apparently, there's a lot of sauna issues going on right now. I say that half humorously, but it's,
Frustrating.
no, I will ask him
Okay.
tomorrow what that is. And then, thank you for reminding, not that you're reminding me, but I have a lot of patrons asking me about that
Sure,
too.
yeah, absolutely.
imagine.
So question, I couldn't find it on the graphs. VRC stands for,
VRC?
yeah.
Those are the people that get the Veterans
Yeah,
Resource
it's-
Council.
Yeah.
They
Okay,
get,
thank you. That Veterans Resource
Okay.
Council is appropriate. it's not referenced anywhere, so.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. No, I just wanted to know what it was. And let's see, I have, well, just one request that, I know we said we were changing how we're doing the Employee of the Month, but since we didn't really change it, if we have a write-up, I would love to just go back to the way things were. And all I mean by that is I don't necessarily know a lot of the employees at the pool, and I actually appreciate, even if we don't read it into the record, I actually just appreciate knowing what they do and why they're, I would love to see that write-up, because I know when they're submitted, I appreciate it because it helps me get to know who works there a little bit better and to appreciate what they do. And then my last thing, and I don't know if this is the appropriate place or not, so sorry, but we had a question about the Family Pass. And I know I read it in here somewhere as well, which is why I put it on here. And I would have to say, so when we did the rate changes last year, there was nothing, that wasn't even something we considered. And so it seems like an omission, or it went away by omission.
it's because the staff didn't recommend it. And I asked them
Okay.
about it when I saw it, and they said, oh, we don't want to have one. I think is
I
what
thought there
they
was some
said.
information about it. They felt that it was being misused. They were bringing in
Yes.
everybody and their uncle and claiming them as family.
Yes, I think that was it.
Okay. And in the, sorry. go
Sorry, it
ahead.
was pre-me, so I don't know
Well, I remember listening to it on YouTube.
Well,
I
we,
don't. See, I
Ask-
wiped it out. I wiped it out.
Ask
of my
Julie, she's the
consciousness.
one who would know.
I'm back on track now too, so whenever you're done.
And just my last follow-up there was these are the difficult things where I don't always know what to do. So we had received an email from someone expressing a concern about that, and I never know if 5 people are responding to that person because we don't reply to all, or if no one has. And I would hate it if no one did, but I know I did not, simply because I'm asking about it right now.
I sent it to Kaz with a question. So, and I assumed then that he would go back to the person, or not, and, because she was talking about her husband and then her sister and they were all a family, and I was like, how did these people get a family pass? Because a family is supposed to be, my understanding was,
Well, we need to definitely, if we're going to do it, we're going to have a good definition of what a family is.
Exactly,
and
exactly.
limit it.
And I guess so. The reference to my question was, did we respond to her?
yes. Do you,
Cecil responded to, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It just, it would be nice maybe if we could find a way
Could.
to ensure that we know that things, because I would hate to think that no one ever responded to this
I
person, because
wonder
that,
if family could be as simple as lives in the same household, and I don't know if it could be that simple.
and that's, I would leave that to
Gotta be something though
you
that
know,
can sort of verify. I mean, if you drag 10 people in and say, oh, they're all living with me.
yeah.
I
And
mean, I don't know.
I mean,
I
it should
think-
certainly not to exceed 6 people or something, obviously.
Yeah, I would think we should have a limit on the number.
Yeah.
okay, sorry, though, I'm done.
That's okay. Really quick diversion, maybe what we should do is the chairman should answer those group emails and just an assumption, and then send out to everybody else, say, I answered it, it's good.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think-
I
You
like
know?
that.
I
Okay.
thought that's the way it was done anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, so I'll
Not
do it well.
really.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, you're right.
No, that,
I don't know either.
It's this thing where we don't want to do, again, we don't want to do the wrong thing, and we want to do the right thing, but I think there probably are cases where people have gotten more than one response, and there are cases where people have gotten none.
And especially if they get if they get different responses,
Sure.
that's
I think-
bad too.
I think as long as we're not getting too many emails, which is usually not the case, it's usually lack of public input. Maybe it would be as simple as telling them, thank you, we'll discuss this during the next regular meeting, or
Exactly.
or this was discussed such and such, and this was the verdict, if you will, I guess. And
Exactly.
so,
Okay.
And I think
so,
asking the chairman to respond.
is that all you had
Yeah.
over there?
Mhm.
Okay. Kaz, you and I had talked on items 4 and 9 a little bit, so if there was any movement there, I wanted to know what that might be. And then real quick on item 10, it says here that you met with Ali Paul of the Blue Heron Booster Club to discuss a formal memorandum of understanding between them and the district. It says we are drafting that now and we'll finalize it in the next few weeks. I guess my initial thought there was, you know, going back to, I think it was December when the NWAC dues were increased and how much time they were given to be self-sustaining, et cetera. I would assume that if I was them, looking at how much of an asset they are to the district, I would assume that if I was them, I wouldn't sign off on an MOA unless they were given at least 18 months under their current structure. So my question to you is, has that been part of their?
I haven't seen, we had a good discussion, but I haven't seen her final draft input to me yet. She was, I know she was working on it today because she texted me and said, I'm still working on it, I don't have it yet. And I hope to have some sort of update for tonight, but I don't. I don't know what's in it.
Before that's finalized, is it possible that all the board members could see that, or? I mean, you're the executor, and I don't think we would have the right to override you on something like that anyway, obviously.
I believe you're correct there, and to answer your first question is no, I don't think that would be an issue at all to allow that, which would have been my intent anyway. Once I got it, would have been, this is what I'm going to agree to, and you know, accept input if there was input to it. Yes, sir.
So, MOA, what's A stand for?
Agreement, memorandum of agreement.
Agreement, it says agreement rather than
Yes.
understanding, okay.
MOA, not MOU, sorry. Also, I think the Blue Heron Booster, they were gonna come in quarterly or something and update us.
No, I don't think, they're not, they don't.
Okay, so.
As a courtesy, they can do
Okay.
that, but they
Well,
don't.
would there be a way for you to update the commissioners of the asset that they are as they contribute new lane lines and things like that?
It's in here.
Well, no, but I know what he's asking.
Okay.
He's asking, I will be glad to talk to Ally and see if on a quarterly
Yeah.
basis, she would come and go, this is kind of the stuff we're doing right now.
I'm kind of, so it'd be nice to know on a number value, okay, hey, they gave
That's
us.
not required of her.
I know it's not
thing to
required,
give
but I
back,
think it would probably be very beneficial for them if they could, if the board could see, hey, they gave us $3,500 worth of lane lines or something. you know?
Well, yeah, no, I should, yeah. So I'll ask her if they would, I can't imagine they wouldn't. Because
Exactly.
they want to, they're trying to be a good partner with the
I just-
district as well.
I think you were living out of the area at the time, and this is where I'm at. I go back, 2011, I guess it was. You know, it would be easy to sit back and say, oh, NWAC cost the district $20,000 a year or something. Here's the deal. If it weren't for NWAC, the M&O would not have passed. So does NWAC cost the district $20,000 a year? I don't know that number to be accurate. I'm just throwing that number out there. Or does NWAC bring $560,000 a year into the district through the M&O? NWAC was the ones out doing the legwork, going door to door, standing on the corner. The levy barely passed. It wouldn't have passed without them. And I would hate to see this board or any of the employees of the district harm that marriage, if you will.
I understand. There's no intent to harm any of that from the staff side. I don't know of anyone but back to the question, I will talk to Ally to see if she
Okay.
or a representative, because I think at the end of the summer, she turns over the presidency
Yes.
after a year. I think she's going to try to help us focus on the broader
How cool.
501.
That's very exciting.
Probably be a C7.
Very excited. And then the only other question I had was there on 4 and 9. If there was any update on that with the Little League?
Hang on. No, not yet.
Okay.
Hang on, let me make sure.
And that was like working
They're
out
both
some
separate.
small rental fee, et cetera, you know?
They're separate. Yeah, I mean, the rental is $5 an hour.
Okay.
And I have I think a 3-day old email into Bill asking that same question. Because we're looking at, what would it take to do some camps out there?
Yeah.
And the options would range from whether we host it and then, have someone who is the instructor gets paid,
Yeah.
or whether we're renting the space and we make the field available for the camp for what you want to do. Either one is probably good.
Yeah.
One is less work.
Got her name on the sign out there either way.
Yeah, so, once he responds to me, then I will do that. I work with him. And the Little League one, that was number 4, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, 4.
And 9 was pretty similar.
Yes, he hasn't gotten back to, he was gonna, when I gave him what the number was, he was going back. My guess is they're not, it was only one night a week
Yeah.
on ad hoc for the next few, like until the baseball, this
Yeah.
current baseball season ends. So I
And on
don't,
that same topic, I know it's a big facility, or there's a large field. There's also a dog park. Thinking outside the box, is there a way to bring in a dog trainer? I mean, there's all kinds of
they're
ideas
all
on how
open.
that
We have
field could be used,
as-
yeah.
I don't know if you remember from our tour out there,
Yes.
2 months ago, whatever, that big open field
Yeah.
out there that we found out has a bunch of hornet nests.
That's what you said, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Oh,
I wasn't
does
allergic
it?
to those.
Well, there was some trash, and Commissioner Hoffmeyer sent me a note and said, hey, I heard word there's some trash out there. And I'm like, oh, let me go see what this is all about. So I drove out there, and as you're coming in, and you're turning and you're going by there, peripherally, it was this blue stuff. It was blue, like blue and white, it seemed like all blue and white. And I was like, and I'm looking ahead thinking, okay, it's gonna be past the gate, so where is it down there, and how, the gate's not really wide. And so, hey, Matt, there's some trash down there, can you get it Saturday? I think this was a Friday. And he said, yep, I'll go get it tomorrow. And he went out there and got stung like 6 or 7 times, went back, killed him, and then went back the following week, and
These are the ones that are in the ground?
they were, he didn't know,
Oh,
but they were a boatload of them. I'll use
I know,
a
yeah.
different term.
Some of them build their nests
And,
in
but
the
it
ground.
was in a,
Yeah,
the trash
those are
was
bad.
thrown on top of this heap of
Right,
brush.
yeah, they could have been in there too.
And
yeah.
it was so much worse than the couch and the recliner that you could have, I don't know, maybe sat on with the contamination suit. Maybe it was a whole truckload of trash. I mean,
Yeah.
just trash bags full of trash. It was ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
like really.
So I wondered if the people that threw them there got stung too. I hope they did.
Oh.
But that's just my hope. But
I,
anyway.
I hope so too. All right, are you done?
Well, I was closer with that comment, actually. That field over there we had talked about.
Yes.
I feel until I got sidetracked. Hey, squirrel. I got sidetracked. What do we want to do with that field? That'd be a place to do kind of dog training or something. We talked about that in a couple, at least during the interview when we walked the tour out there. So yeah, there are a lot of things that can, I say a lot, there are things that can be done out there that could increase stuff, being that the dog park's free, the off-leash park's free, but there are other ways to bring more revenue in there
Yeah.
with the fields and potentially what we decide to do with that open area.
I had a squirrel moment too that's kind of related. When we were out there at the dog park, Commissioner Holly had mentioned finding out about a plot of land that we own in a subdivision over that way somewhere.
It's near Hillcrest.
Okay, would it at some point be possible to do a similar tour, or at least to see on Google Earth or something what it is during the meeting, or?
Yes, I'll get you guys a link to that if I didn't. I thought I had, but maybe I.
You know, I was kind of thinking, I know we don't have money to put into something right now, but like I said, I don't know what neighborhood it's at or anything.
We should go look
And
at
whether it's
it.
been incorporated
Well,
in
you
the
know
city.
what?
'cause
You know
were
what we
looking
can
at-
do? We can ask Amy Witt when we're down at county
Okay.
if we remember to, because I talked to her about it. What's the value of this
Yeah.
place, whatever? Because Bill Walker sent me the link. Hey, by the way, in case you didn't know, and then I remembered that Erica told me, oh, hey, we have this piece of land out
But
there.
it doesn't perk, so we need.
Yeah.
Well,
we
you know
need
what
to
I was
have
thinking, I
sewage
know we
hookup.
don't have a ton of money to put into something like that, obviously, but
No.
maybe the community that it's in would like to put a rhododendron garden out there and a picnic table in there. I don't know, something,
Yeah.
maybe
But
somebody else
We
is
shouldn't just
willing to
ignore
work
it,
with
we should at least
Yeah,
know what
find
it
out
is.
what it is at least.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Well,
yeah,
sell it.
I'll get the
It's a possibility
link.
too,
I'll
yeah.
get the link to the physical address
okay.
and the plot and the tax record on it. and
Yeah.
everything for you to look at.
There's been a lot of development out there lately. It might be annexed in the city now, for all I know.
Well,
Yeah.
whether it's annexed in the city, it also might now be running on
Correct.
a water system.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it perks or not.
It might have taken it from $15,000 in value to 80.
Was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never finished following up with Amy about that, because she was gonna check into something.
And then I
followed
guess
up, huh?
If it was donated or whatever, what
It
covenants
was
or whatever
donated, but
was
we paid
under.
$1 for it.
Okay, and there was no, you can't give it away or sell it, et cetera?
No, and
Okay.
I think the last tax record, it might be worth $5,000.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that though, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
More of it's got
On
sewage.
your report, number 2, Jessica Bliven is going to be the new director of aquatics. Is she going to be salaried or per hour?
She will likely be salaried.
Yeah, but based on this,
Pending the
this
decision.
Yeah.
new thing, we might want to look at how we're going to do that,
And,
this new law.
Yep.
And I
Well,
guess
since I have till December, it
Yeah,
gives
I
me
know.
a little bit of time, but yes. Right now, it won't be at, well, I don't need.
And will she be
Yeah.
getting health
Salaries.
insurance?
Pardon?
Will she be getting health insurance?
No, she won't.
Okay,
No, she's a dependent and she's using her husband's.
okay.
okay, big smiley face for you on number 3, the high Y thing. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know I was part of this until I got told I was part of it. It was cool, but,
Yeah.
so it's another way for, and I've got a bunch of the stuff, and we're gonna get it put up, Julie's gonna get it put up here and try and get the word out. So a lot of the people who we do the reduced swim lessons for, now here's a way to come get it and
Yeah,
and they can
scholarships for swimming, perfect,
yeah, exactly. And
perfect.
it's for anything, it's not just for us,
Yeah.
it's for any sport activity, school or whatever, that a kid needs to do.
Yeah,
And I learned
awesome.
something that I didn't know before, that if you're a foster child, it doesn't matter if you work for, if a rich guy like Richard has you, or, okay, I'll go to Bill Gates. You qualify for reduced school lunches. Just, it doesn't matter who the income of the foster family is. And that was kind of interesting to me, because I saw foster kids, and that's one of the criteria is that you have to be on the reduced school lunch rates, and foster children automatically qualify.
That's
So I
neat,
thought that
that's
was
good to
pretty-
know.
I thought
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
And smiley face, number 5, the handicap parking signs are up, yay.
Yay.
And then number 11, transferred 18,000 back into the reserve account, yay.
That's very good.
And then, I have more questions. On our facilities and maintenance, number 2, the boiler. And he talks about the burner controller, the pressure relief valve need to be replaced. We need to, originally, when we put together this list, the boiler was number 1, because we had just replaced our 30-year boiler with a new boiler that was already 20 years old when we got it. So it's still got some life in it, but we have got to start saving money to replace that boiler, because there may be a cataclysmic. So I would like for the amount of money needed to replace the boiler to be on this list.
Okay.
You can just put it in parentheses saying,
A
boiler replacement, blah, 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 because,
Isn't that on there, 1823?
Well, that's to
no,
repair, that's.
those are some repair parts of the existing
Oh,
boiler. I'm talking
okay.
about replacing the
replacement. Oh, okay.
20-year-old boiler, and
Oh,
which,
yeah, that's a good point, okay.
yeah, no, because I was like, wait a minute, what happened to the $600,000? Because the problem is, it was something like, we were guesstimating, because he couldn't even get an estimate. But that's how, Fidalgo, that's how much they had to spend, but 300,000 of that was because they had to take out the brick wall to put in the new boiler.
Can I ask a question on that same thing? Back in, I guess 2004, when I opened my dairy on Fur Island, I couldn't afford a new vacuum. It was $250,000. But there was a lot of people who had cycled out their older, not necessarily older, but a different style vacuum pump that used a little more power. So there were some brand new vacuum pumps out there that had only been used for a year or two that were available for maybe $15,000. Is there a way to find out if, through the 2009 American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, et cetera, energy upgrades, maybe there is a relatively new boiler that was just set aside somewhere because it wasn't as energy efficient as a newer one?
The 2009, what was that?
That was the ARA, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. There was a lot of relatively new stuff that got taken out of service for more efficient stuff. And I don't know if there's a boiler boneyard somewhere nationwide, but
Apparently
there
there is, that's where we got this
Yes,
one from.
there you go.
So,
So maybe we could find one that's in much better shape for, a tenth of the price or
Basically,
something.
a low-cost refurb boiler.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to spend $300,000 on a boiler And then God forbid them and O don't pass in a year, and it's like, oh gee.
Well,
But maybe there's another pool that
We-
has had
we-
the same thing.
yeah.
Their problem at Fidalgo, as you said, was because they had to knock out a wall.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
We don't have that
Exactly.
problem here.
So that was just this, and it was a total guesstimate
Yeah, oh,
that we
totally.
were just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, because I was trying to figure out
Yeah.
how much money are all these critical
Yeah.
maintenance requirements that may happen tomorrow
Yeah.
or may not.
Well, you
So-
never want to benefit from somebody else's bad fortune, or at least not gloat about doing so.
I don't remember a large
But
store
look-
back there, but that's
Looking at the 60% threshold that it takes to pass an M&O levy, it's pretty tough. And if you look statewide and nationwide, there's a lot of pools that have closed down. And maybe there's somebody that had that same exact scenario, put in a $200,000 boiler and closed down a year later. It seems like maybe we could find a used one out there, and I'd like to see what the cost of that is too.
Okay.
And maybe even one new enough that has a couple-year warranty on it or something even. That was just a thought I had there that could help save us some money possibly.
Right?
But I would like the maintenance list to reflect those things that, the big ticket items also
Yeah.
that we have to keep in the forefront of our mind as we're, trying to redo the finances.
Okay.
Because we have to think about those things. Okay. On page 6 of staff reports, the front desk and attendance report. Aerobics, you got, 369 people came in April 20. And my question is, does this number jive with the instructors' reports? Only because,
With-
and the instructors, do they give the number and say, I had this many people? Anecdotal evidence is that people aren't always paying for their aerobics classes. So I noticed that the number of aerobics was down this month over last year, and it's kind of looks significantly down. And I'm wondering if you had active duty family people if you add that to open swim, that's like huge up here. So I'm wondering if some of these active duty family people actually went into aerobics and they signed up as active duty family, but they should have been paying for aerobics because the military is not paying for the aerobics. So that's just a question.
So I still owe both of you as the program review committee and aerobics review, and I still I'm actually scheduled tomorrow morning to work with Erica and Jessica on what we think the state of the state is on that, and then call you guys in to do that. So I know that's an issue because we have people, especially seniors, some who are in here on silver sneakers and all that, and that's one of the hardest thing, as you've acknowledged in your write-up that I have in there,
Yeah.
that's one of the hardest things to get your arms around in there
Yep.
is who's actually in the water doing the stuff.
And I would say one way is, you have these numbers, and I don't think they're accurate. Get the instructors to actually turn in for a 30-day period, a month-long period, turn in their numbers for each class.
Okay.
Because that's what your former aerobics instructor, I forgot her name, but she was doing that for a while for me. And that was very interesting.
Okay.
But I think you'll see that the aerobics total is going to be a little different from who's actually in the water doing aerobics as to who's actually paid for it.
Okay.
Just a guess.
Squatters,
I
aerobic
usually have about
squatters.
12 or 15 in there with volleyball.
Okay, in the admin corner, you talked about, or Joanne talked about, the Employment Security Department.
Yeah.
We are reimbursable. And then she talks about the taxable method.
Right.
Are we talking about going taxable? Why would we do that?
The action item was just to look into whether it makes sense to do that or not.
Oh, okay.
And
And
so
so the answer is no.
So the answer, yes, the answer is no, it doesn't. And
Okay.
The bottom line comes in the bottom paragraph, as a reimbursable employer. Over the last 4 years, up through 2015, we paid out just shy of 22 grand, where at the same time, had we been, based on our rates and what we get charged, we'd have paid out 30 grand.
Okay.
It's going to be it's easily going to be around 6,000 based on current payroll.
Right.
It'll be about 6,000.
Thank you. Tell her thank you for getting that into that's. I really like how that's putting it. It kind of it very well describes the difference between private sector that would be taxable and a public agency as well. So that was very well done, and it's very nice to see that we saved, even though we feel like we've been paying out a lot lately in unemployment.
Yeah.
We've still $8,000 ahead of where we would have been.
And I had a question about that.
Yes, sir.
So why are we still paying? It seems like these employees got discharged
Does it ever end?
like over 4 or 5 years, or 3 or 4 years ago. I thought you only get paid for 12 months or whatever, unemployment, or 18 months. So it seems like, why are we still paying for unemployment for, I would assume, you have to be fired, not,
Oh, one was
not,
fired.
if you retire, if you just leave on your own, you don't get unemployment. So I'm assuming the people
Well,
were paying.
that's not exactly
If
true.
you leave it for another job and then lose that job, it can't even come back.
Oh, really?
And that's what happened on one of them, and the
Oh.
one that was fired is getting it.
Yeah, I mean, but why is that one? Because that was over 3 years ago. It
It
seems like you
was
can't keep
the
getting it.
ED at the time didn't quite go through the
Well, I
process
know, but still,
properly,
you can
if I
only get
recall.
unemployment for 12 to 18 months.
Apparently not. Apparently you can get it for a long time.
Really?
Apparently.
I thought
It's,
it was a limit.
it's a very convoluted thing that would take a special meeting and with its own agenda item really to explain.
I know that,
And Joanne would be the one to have to really explain it, because she can articulate it very clearly. But actually, I don't think we've paid anything this year.
Okay. And we
On
probably,
it. We have, and we have another,
one's-
and what, in the past, what's happened is that a lot of the claims have come in, and previous people that are filling Joanne's role or whatever in the past haven't countered it. We've had one for the last 4 weeks that keeps coming into it. Every week it's another one, same person. And every week, it's the same response on it, and it just keeps coming. But they're not, this person is not getting anything because this person left. It wasn't fired, wasn't.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Right, I forget the exact thing, but anyway. So what we do when they come in now is if we have a valid, hey, this is
Okay.
why this person left, we
Okay.
let go of this person. Now Joanne is actually putting
Good,
the
okay, thank you.
stuff out there.
Okay,
I
thank
don't
you,
think,
Joanne. Thank
I'll
you, Joanne.
verify this, but I believe she told me we have not paid out anything this year yet.
Oh, great, thank
And
you.
the people, when she was researching this, told her, if you haven't seen something by now, you're probably not gonna see something on those two people.
Okay, great, thank you.
Well, that's good to know.
yes.
Do you want me to come by sometime to do the employee of the month thing in place of Cecil?
Yes, let me coordinate whenever, Lindsay's gonna be available. It's
Okay.
Probably, since she's a high schooler, it's probably in the evening, if that's
fine.
okay.
That's fine.
So we haven't spent any money for buying cards lately. Is that because we already had a bunch of cards? We were giving them $25 gift cards?
We figured out we weren't allowed to do that.
Oh,
Actually, we are allowed.
Oh, we are allowed
We
to.
are allowed, but I believe the commission, prior to me, directed it not be done.
I think it was because we're short of, it's short of money, and so
well, if we could get it out of the points out of our credit card, it's not gonna
That would-
cost us anything.
that would be
Well,
awesome.
so I've got all three of them, and since Erica's leaving, she's my priority
Uh-huh.
to wipe out her, as much as
Points,
we
right.
can out of her stuff. And what can we do with those things?
Yeah.
Right, so if there are gift certificates that we
Yeah,
can use.
sure.
To do that, but we are allowed to have $250, which would be
25
$20
a month.
a month.
Yeah,
Basically $20 a month with $10 left over.
yeah, so,
I read the RCW on that.
okay, so then, yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
Especially if it's not,
$20
if it's
gift
coming out of this point system, which we can't use much for anything anyway, let's do it.
Sure, yeah, and they are all researching,
Mhm.
Louis Vuitton bag.
Okay.
I'm kidding about the Louis Vuitton bag.
Okay, final board comments, Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
Yeah, looking at how hard it is for an M&O levy to pass, I think good press, good press, good press. We don't need no names dragged through the mud. Though I do occasionally call the Attorney General's office for direction or to clarify something. The tone and the manner which I earlier directed that at Commissioner Holly was inappropriate, and I apologize.
Accepted.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
I have nothing.
Thank you.
Okay, the next meeting is, I know we already talked about it. It's next month on the 23rd of June at 6:30 PM.
We're out before 3 hours, that means Cecil's at fault.
Yeah.
Felt like it took
It was
6
a, it
hours.
was a short agenda as well. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned at 20:30 or 8:30 PM. Thank you very much. Good meeting.
You guys want to still set up a time? for-
Yes.
You betcha. Let me just finish
Okay.
this real quick,
Good.
and I will gladly.
I'll take the vanilla folder, the one that has the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I gave it to you. I already gave it.
Yeah, I've got the paper. I
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
I just want to get the folder.
I didn't know there was a folder. Do we?
Oh, I need to turn these off. And
We do retain them.
Okay, all right then. Super, and who I